sixth graders. This is Ms. Schlafer today behind the camera, and I normally teach the trumpet group, but Ms. Tooley asked if I would do this next video for all of the instruments, and it was so nice to see you all last week on the big band. I'm so impressed with so many of the things I'm just seeing you guys do. Just the bravery, the kids that play on the meeting in front of everyone. I love the people that practice standing up, the way you're using your music stands. There's the warming up, people buzzing on their mouthpieces, trumpets. I'm so proud of you. It was really fun to see you all, meet you all. So I'm going to talk to you about preparing for lesson number 4. And what we're going to talk about for this lesson are these, starting first with these 2 sheets in front of you on my music stand. So if you'd get those right now. All right, looking at these 2 sheets, this is old news. I know through what Ms. Tooley did in your lesson last week, you are expected to know the first 4 notes. You've been working on those, and they show up in Baby Shark. You had to use your 4th note in that one, so you should feel pretty comfortable. My guess is many of you have gone on and tried the 5th and maybe even the 6th note. So I am going to include those a little bit in what I talk about today as we talk through the note gymnastics sheet. However, I'm going to change the yellow sheet for purpose of this video to this pink sheet. You don't have this. This is mine, and I'm using a blank one because you all have different notes. So I thought it would be easier, less confusing for you to just see the pictures of sound as I describe the note gymnastics. So all I'm going to give you is some new terminology and some new patterns, some practice patterns to do that it's going to just simply make you stronger. It's going to give you better ease of playing and more facility, meaning your fingers and your tongue and your lips and your air and everything will line up, and it will start to feel easier to play all the notes that we need to make music. So you know what sprinklers are. I'm not even going to talk about those. You've been practicing those. The more you do, the better. The longer you can last, the faster they go, the lighter your tongue. All of those things are going to help strengthen you as a player. I'm going to move on to the second of the note gymnastics, and these are called turns. Now, it might seem obvious to you when you look at the picture, but what a turn simply means is that you are choosing 2 notes that are directly next to each other, and you're practicing going back and forth between the 2 notes. Here's what's important. Look at the picture. You can almost see it. When you move between these 2 notes, the most important part of what you're doing is making that 2 sound. You can see that T in between the 2 sounds. Now, you can choose the 2 notes you want to use first. I'm going to choose this one and this one, and I'm going to move. I'm going to go back and forth between those 2 sounds. Once I'm comfortable, listen to how I challenge myself. Notice once I got the pattern and I got comfortable, I pushed myself to go faster and to do more of them in one breath. Again, the only rule is that the 2 notes that you are turning, wiggling between, are directly next to each other, and that you're using the 2 sound. So brass players, if you want to start easy, start on the low sounds. If you want to challenge yourself and try the higher sounds. So brass, that's where you'll get your challenges. Trombones, obviously moving from 1st to 6th. Flute players, going from a C to a D is the most challenging part of flute playing in your beginning times. Saxophone players, if you've felt strong enough to move from this C and you've tried the D, obviously moving between those 2 notes, moving most of your fingers instead of just one at a time is going to be the challenge for you. So start easy. Pick 3 or 4 different turns each time you sit down to practice and see how your fingers are doing, whether you can get them moving a little bit faster. So once you've done turns and you feel good about those, we want you to try some trampolines. And you can tell by the picture, we are moving note to note while skipping something in between. So obviously the easiest trampoline pattern to start with would be where you simply move from one note, skip over, up to the next one. So I'm going from my 1st to my 3rd. Now, you notice I'm using the same strategy of starting slow and once I get comfortable moving faster. So maybe I'm going to jump now I'm going to do the same trampoline jump, but using two different notes. So you can see the jump is the same distance, but I'm using two different fingerings. This is really challenging, more so for woodwinds. Getting these finger patterns where you can move back and forth using your tongue and having your fingers be confident. Now, trampolines, these can take a while because once you've mastered jumping from there to there, maybe you want to make a bigger jump. Maybe you want to try to jump your trampoline from this note to that note. Okay, that's going to take more energy. Brass. Now, as you're working trampolines, be sensible. Start with a little jump. Start with the little ones. Don't try to jump from here to here if you haven't gotten the strength and the muscle and the coordination to make the smaller jumps first. But once you've practiced all of these different kinds of combinations, medium-sized jumps, small jumps, larger jumps, my favorite way to end my trampoline practice is to get on my trampoline and start with a small jump, a medium jump, a mid-sized jump, a large jump. So you'll hear my trampoline. It's as if I start little and my height goes higher and higher as I get stronger and more confident. So even I had some trouble with that last jump, the height of it jumping from the first note to the highest note. So those are trampolines. And then, of course, last but not least, steps. Normally, these are referred to as scales. And I like to talk about these things because scales way back, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they got a bad rap. Somebody said something mean about a scale like, yeah, I made my student go practice their scales. Like it's a bad thing. There's nothing bad about scales. You're going to find scales in so many places that the more you're practicing them, the better you're going to be able to play all the music you see. So a scale sounds like this. Or you can do it backwards. Now, I used to like to play my scales up and down in one breath, and I would start like a trampoline. I would go here and back down. I'd go up to the third note. I'd go to the fourth note. You'll hear the pattern. Do you see how each time my scale went one step higher? So these patterns are really, really important. And now you might be saying to me right now, it's like, well, Miss Schliver, why should I have to do these patterns? Can't we just play songs? Can't we just play music and band? Of course we can, and that's our ultimate goal. But these patterns are going to prepare you for that. So while I'm talking about, there's a ton of other things in your folder, and I'd like to bring to your attention this blue piece of paper. And I'm going to show you why we took this time. Music is made of patterns. And exactly like for those of you who are football players, you can't go into a game without knowing the play. You have to know the pattern before you can play the game. You can't be in a dance group without learning the individual steps before you can do the full routine. You can't win a volleyball game until you know how to set the ball for your teammate. So these patterns that we are working in, the same idea is that they will show up in music. So you can see this. This is a perfect example. Happy Birthday is a sprinkle, a turn, one trampoline to a turn, a sprinkle, a turn, a larger trampoline to a turn. So the music that you're looking at is simply these patterns. Okay, if you look down to the bottom of this same blue sheet, Lean on Me is a song made all of turns with 2 sprinkles. So when you're doing your playing at home, this sheet is going to become a very good friend. We'll be talking about it in your lesson next week. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, or you're going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and you've had a good break from school, but I hope you're still playing your instruments and you take a minute to look at the materials in this video. So thanks everybody. It was a long one. You hung on for 10 minutes, so I really appreciate that, and you'll see Miss Julie, Mr. Dorner, and myself back at your next lesson. All right, see you then.